I don't think Olivia would have, even with our help, had the strategic approach to have the options that she has available to her now. And had we stuck with the approach that we were using, um, which was okay, we would probably not be looking at the ability to choose between 4 or 5 competitive schools. We would have maybe got into one by a lottery, and that would have been it. So return on investment wise, it really opened up the aperture to be able to see more schools, understand what those schools were, and now develop a strategy to get into those schools. And we wouldn't have been able to do that just on our own. We would have maybe found one school and we'd have been like, I hope this works out for you. And so now you're going off to college feeling like, okay, I'm fully vested in this and I understand what I'm doing. I understand what got me there, what drove me there. And now when I look at the return on investment, I go, that's 4 years of school where you have the best possible chance of success in undergrad.
And that was really helpful with like the essay portion of the applications. Like, I don't think like by ourselves we would have been able to write as good of essays or as many essays as I was able to write. So that was really helpful. And I think like being able to like get into all those schools and like get the scholarships that I got like through the essays I wrote was probably pretty big on like the return of investment. Well, I know Tyler specifically was like very organized, so that was really helpful, especially since we're doing stuff like on such a time crunch. So like being organized and being able to like go through everything super quick was very, very helpful for me. Because I don't think I would have like been able to like go through as many essays as fast.
The most important piece is to understand the the process from the perspective of the admissions departments and how they're processing that information, and that's the expertise that you have. Without that, you're making assumptions that just won't necessarily be in line with um, uh, the challenge you're facing. And so that's probably the most important thing to us, was actually understanding the challenge we were in to get into some of these schools, uh, and then realizing that there's a lot more options was another big one, in terms of, as we started to characterize what different schools are available, all of a sudden things show up on the map. And then the third piece was invaluable, as you know, Anjali, being able to ask questions about what to do with the high school stuff, because they just come up and you go, well, I don't know. I mean, we just had another one and we're just like, what do we do about, what does this mean to a college? We have to make a decision about a class our kid is going to take. We don't know, does it mean something to this process or not? And if it's or not, then we can move on and we don't worry about it. But if it's like, well, probably need to seriously consider a change there and figure it out. Now we know, like, we got to figure out how to go work with this administration to get them moved, or we got to do this, or we got to do that. Having, all of your short fused availability for those questions that happen fast and come up when you least expect it, which probably for us as parents, just absolutely invaluable, because you were always able to reframe it right back to, here's what admissions is thinking, here's what that's going to mean for you, and here's what we can and can't do. This you've got a teacher who's a problem, right? Or you've got to decide between an honors and an AP, like all these things. That was probably the as parents, the most important thing for us, and that was where it is invaluable. I mean, I think 24-hour responsiveness on any of those questions, and your understanding of, like, no matter how stupid it is, it might have an impact, or no, don't worry about that, that's fine, that's normal. So that was for us, that would be my parting thought, is they weren't long conversations, but they were hugely impactful for us to know that we were headed in the right direction.